Off the Sanriku Coast of Miyagi, two great ocean currents meet. The nutrient-rich Oyashio and Kuroshio currents make this one of the world's three most fertile fishing grounds. For 40 years, GOTO Kiyohiro has cultivated oysters in the Tokura district of Minami Sanriku. The method used here is to suspend the growing oysters on lines attached to rafts. Oysters feed on plankton carried by the ocean currents. The nutrient-dense waters off Tokura produce some of Japan's best oysters. They'll keep getting tastier and reach their best in February or March. At one time, this bay was overcrowded with rafts as farmers kept trying to increase production. But the result was that the oysters didn't thrive and production actually declined. The sea here was becoming drained of nutrients, and the oysters weren't getting enough nourishment to grow properly. The reputation of our oysters got worse and worse, and even reached the point where buyers were saying they just didn't want Tokura oysters anymore. GOTO grew more and more concerned about the deterioration of the marine environment. And then in 2011, the Great East Japan earthquake hit this coast. The tsunami devastated the area, sweeping all the oyster farms out to sea. GOTO lost his house as well as all his oyster growing gear. Looking at the now empty sea, he came to a decision. When you've lost everything, you are left with a blank slate. This gives you the freedom to come up with new ways to do things. GOTO proposed that the Tokura oyster farmers drastically limit the number of their rafts. The goal was to reduce the burden on the environment and achieve sustainable production. The other farmers agreed and replaced the 1,000 rafts lost to the tsunami with less than 300. With fewer rafts, each oyster could now get all the nutrients it needed, and growth rates increased dramatically. It used to take 3 years of growth for an oyster to reach 15 grams. And now they were weighing 20 grams after just 4 months. Even more surprising was how different the oysters became, so much plumper and tastier. And after all, as growers, our main goal must be to produce oysters for people to eat and enjoy. We're still thinking about how we can improve things further in future. As well as reducing the environmental burden, they're now producing twice what they did before the earthquake. GOTO's company's efforts in sustainable oyster farming have been certified by ASC, the International Aquaculture Standards Body. This is such a great example of how small-scale producers, rather than giant corporations, are now coming to realize that achieving sustainable aquaculture is something that benefits the producers too. I believe that publicizing this case will have a significant influence worldwide. The changes that GOTO implemented have inspired the next generation too. His son Shinya will inherit the company and is determined to carry on his work. I guess everyone probably thinks this, but for me the coolest thing in life is to create something I can be proud of and then to actually produce it. I hope this will always be my ambition in life. Converting to sustainable aquaculture is not a goal in itself. It's a way of giving the next generation a fresh start.